King.
Just to check I'm in the right room, who here would like to earn a lot more money? Who'd like to have a lot more time? And who'd like both? Well, turn to the person next to you, give them a high five and say, you're in the right room. Go. Excellent. My name's Samuel Leeds, and I set up my first business at the age of 17 years old. Felt like a kid in a suit. And of all businesses, it was a property investment business. That's what I decided to do. And by the age of 21, had over £1 million worth of property and was completely financially free, never had to work again. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys some tips, some pointers, and some strategies that have worked for me around property investing. Is that okay? Awesome, I like you guys. I should take these with me as my traveling audience. Okay, so there's 4 questions that most people ask me about property. So if I said, ask me anything you want about property, there's 4 things. And those 4 things boil down to this. Firstly, when is the best time to buy property? When's the right time to get started in property investing? Whether that be a full-time business, whether that might be a little bit on the side. So I'm going to answer that. Also, what kind of houses did you buy? Is it flats? Is it commercial? Is it just regular terraced houses? What is the right kind of properties to buy? Next, where? Where is the best place to buy? So I'm going to try and cover this in the next 15 minutes or so, when to buy, what to buy, and where to buy. And if I can give you a nice cover of that, would that be a useful 15 minutes? Awesome. So firstly, when to buy. I'll give you a quick history lesson. After expansion comes recession. And after recession comes, guess what? Expansion. Not to think so's nuts, because we've seen it over the last hundreds and hundreds of years in the market, in the economy. We'll have a massive expansion and everyone's like, wow, fantastic. And then there's a recession. And people act surprised, like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? And we've been in a pretty big recession. So, and we wonder where the market's going. What house price is going to do? Nobody knows. Well, you know what? Even my wife doesn't care about my opinion. So I'm not going to give you my opinion. I'll give you history, which says expansion is on the way. So on that basis, I would say that now is a pretty good time to invest in property. On average, again, this is not my opinion, this is history, property prices double in value every 10 years. Wow, 10 years? Yeah. You look back over the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 100 years, and you'll see this happening. So you get a little bit of an expansion and a recession, an expansion, a recession, but on average, the values are going up every 10 years. So now's a fantastic time to invest in property. We're going to move on to that and say, okay, now's a good time, but what should we buy? What should we invest in? Now, I saw this, I worked this out after reading a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, written by Robert Kiyosaki. Anybody read it? Great book. And based on the back of that book, I did some studies and I was telling people I wanted to be a property investor. And a lot of people were saying, oh, risky business, son, risky business. And I thought about it and I worked out that if you put money in a bank, let's say £50,000 in a bank, you wait 10 years for this 50 grand to maybe earn you a little bit of interest and grow. You wait 10 years, in 10 years of your 50 grand being in a good bank, do we know what that's going to be at now? 10 years time? 52, 53. Any advances? I'll tell you, 10 years, your 50 grand is going to be worth around about £36,000. What about the interest? Well, there's practically no interest and money depreciates in value. How so? Well, as cost of living goes up and the money stays the same, it's depreciating. Which is why, I'll give you an example. 15 years ago, if you're a millionaire, very impressive. Hats off to you, Mr. Millionaire. Now, today, in 2016, everybody's a millionaire. It's no big deal. Why? Because £1 million today is worth an awful lot less than it was 15 years ago, because money depreciates in value. Wow, isn't that interesting? What about if you put that same £50,000 into a house? Well, you wait 10 years, and now that £50,000 that you've invested into a property will be worth around about, based on history, 100 grand? No. Wrong. Why? Unless you're buying that house for cash, the 50 grand will be the deposit, and the house would be around about 200,000 based on average deposit prices, which would mean what doubles, the 50 grand or the 200? Absolutely. When I started to realise this, I thought I need to start buying houses. I had no money, I had no experience, I had no ability to get a mortgage. We were just coming up to a massive recession, and it worked for me. So whatever you're thinking, if you're thinking, I don't know if the timing's right, I'm too old, I'm too young, I haven't got enough money, I haven't got enough experience. If I can do it back then at 17 with none of those things, you've got no excuses. The great thing about property is you get paid twice. How many times? Twice. You get paid once in capital growth, which is what we're talking about, and you also get paid another time in, rent. This is long term, this is medium, short, and long term. So let's do a quick calculation. This is why I've got the flip chart. I'm going to assume that I take Brad. Brad, do you know a lot about property?
Not really.
Not really. To make it even more difficult for him, I'm going to blindfold him, and I'm going to drug him. Okay, I'm going to give him a whole bunch of sleeping pills, and I'm going to take him to the Taunton train station. So Brad is now on the train, he's drugged, he's blindfolded in Taunton, no idea where he's going. North, east, south, west, no idea.
Like 1993 all over again.
After some hours, Brad gets off the train. I'm still with him. I take him by the arm. He's still a bit drugged up. He doesn't know where he is. He could be in any city in the UK. I take him in to an estate agent, and he says, Samuel, I want to buy a house. Okay? And I say, well, this is the board of houses. Which one do you want? He's blindfolded. And he goes, that one. Okay? And the estate agent says, but Mr. Burton, you can't even see the house. He says, that's okay, I want that one. They say, but you don't even know how much the asking price is. He says, I'll pay the asking price. Okay? If Brad did that, would he be an idiot?
Yes.
Well, let me show you what would happen if that happened. Firstly, the average house in the UK, taking out of account central London, is worth £165,000. Does that sound fair enough? Which would mean he'd put down a deposit of around about 42, which would mean his mortgage would be about 123. Based on average interest rates, he'd be paying around about £350 per month. Does that make sense? Does that ring true? Yep, great. So he's paying £350 per month. Average rent on a house that's 165 is around about, anybody know? 600, 450, any other advances? I'll tell you. 700, which means he's in profit of around about £350 per month. We'll call it 300 because he might have a little bit of costs, maintenance costs. So he's earning £300 a month, and he put down £42,000 deposit, which means he's earning £3,600 per year. His deposit was 42. His return on investment, 3.6, divided by 42, works out 8%. Interesting. So Brad puts £42,000 into a random house without looking at it in any average city. He pays 42 grand, he's getting all the capital growth, and he's making 8% on his rent. Better than the bank, right? For an average house. However, as smart property investors, we don't want to be average. We want to be real good. So next question, well, what exactly to buy? I don't buy houses for 165. I buy houses for more like 85, which means that my deposit is less. My deposit's more like 20,000, which means that my mortgage is less and my mortgage payments are less. My mortgage payments are more like £180 per month. And my rent on a house that's 85 grand, any ideas?
600.
600? £1,500. What? How so? I'll tell you in a minute. I'll get there. So the kind of houses that I buy, 85 grand houses. I learnt this back in 2008. And since then I've been buying houses like this. I've been saving the rent and then using that as my next deposit. Over and over and over. And guess what? You don't need many of these to be able to save some significant rent to buy your next one. So, I bet everyone's now wondering, where do you buy these and how do you get so much rent, yeah? No? Okay, well, that's pretty much the end then. Yeah? Yeah, absolutely. Where'd you buy these and how do you get so much rent? Who thinks online? Nobody? So you believe me, you don't know how, but you're about to find out and we're excited, yes?
Yeah.
Awesome, good. So firstly, I have to keep drawing a picture of a house just in case you forget that we're talking about property. These houses are called multi-lets, which is where you rent it out bit by bit. So here's how it works. You buy a house. Does it have to be a massive house with loads of land and different? No. Typically, a 3-bedroom house, and it's a terraced house. Nice big garden. No, no garden. No drive. Big busy road, lampposts and everything outside. Fantastic. You rent it out room by room, and you'll get typically around about £350 to £400 per month per room. So we'll call it 350. 350 times 3, but then this is where it gets really complicated and quite clever. What we do is we convert a reception room into a bedroom. It costs a lot of money, a lot of time and expertise, because what you need to do to turn a reception room into a bedroom is you need to put a bed in it. Yeah, my builder lied to me back in the day. I used to spend a lot of money putting en suites in all the rooms and doing all these conversions, and then over time I realised, actually, I don't really have to be doing this, because this landlord's renting it out for the same rent and they're sharing a bathroom. And this landlord is just converting a reception room into a bedroom by putting a bed in it. So I started doing these things and buying these properties, mid-terrace properties, renting out on a room-by-room basis. And here's how it works. 350 to £400. Times that by 4, you're talking anywhere between £1,400 and about £1,600. You have to pay the bills. Big catch. How much will that cost you? Around about £300. So knock off the bills off the rent, knock off the mortgage payments. Guess what? You're left with about £1,000 per month profit. How much did you put down? 20 grand with expenses and costs. 25, 27 grand. Return on investment, about 45%. Wow, that's interesting. This isn't rocket science, it's very easy, and here's where to buy them. Again, my builder, he told me this. He told me that these kind of houses only work in this little place called Bourneville. Bourneville is just south of Birmingham. It's where they invented the cavalry world. It's where that is. And he said the thing is, London is the biggest city in the UK. However, although people would want rooms there, to buy a house in London, super expensive. Birmingham's the second biggest, and Birmingham has got a lot of professionals. It's a really good area. However, the north is cheap and tacky. The centre's just flats. The south is great, and there's a train station just south of it in Bourneville. It's a fantastic area. I said, great! So I started buying these houses in Bourneville, and they were working fantastic. And I was typically buying them for around about 80,000. I was spending about 30 grand refurbing them up because I thought I had to, and I was only doing it in Bourneville. So I was having to wait for a good house to come up in Bourneville, and I was having to negotiate just in Bourneville. It was quite restrictive. And then one day my friend bought 2 houses with the intention of doing them as multi-lets, and he bought them in Wolverhampton. I know. I was like, dude, I said, you can't buy these in Wolverhampton. You planning on doing this as multi-lets? He said, yeah. I said, but Bourneville's the area, because Bourneville, he said, it's cool, son. And he went and he bought these houses in Wolverhampton. And I watched from a distance and they rent it out faster and for more money than mine in Bourneville. I said, oh my goodness, there's 2 areas in England that work for this. And then I found the reality, the truth. I found the areas where these houses work. And I was so secretive about this when I found this out, all of this stuff. But then I learned from Albert Einstein, said, don't try and be successful, try and be valuable. So now I'm going to give it to you. Do you want to know the cities where this works?
Yeah.
All right, here's where it works. Write down, it is anywhere! Anywhere! Someone name a city.
Manchester.
Guess what? These houses work in Manchester.
Salford.
Salford, they work in Salford. Isn't it fantastic? I'm actually going to prove it to you, okay? I'm going to get my phone and I'm going to go on this little website called spareroom.co.uk. Spare room is basically where people go when they're looking to rent a room just like this. And they say, hey, any landlords around? I'm looking for a room, okay? So I'm going to go on spareroom.co.uk and I want somebody, you can try and be awkward with me if you want. You can think of a city whereby you think, you know what, no one's going to want a room there. No one's going to pay £350 for a room in that city. Name that city, okay? So here we go. We're on Spare Room. Can you see that? Spare Room? Don't worry, it's my fault. I shouldn't have picked him. Can you? Yes? All right. So, someone give me a city.
Exeter.
Exeter. All right. There we go.
Like a magician.
Exeter, yes? Search for people looking for rooms, flatmates. Oh my goodness! What a coincidence! New today, a lady called Karen. Are you my witness?
Yeah,
£500 per month for a room. Guess what? There's another one. New today. New today, new today, new today, new today, new today. There's pages and pages of people today looking to pay around about £500 per month per room in Exeter, a city that you named. Wow. Someone give me another city.
Point made.
Yeah, we could do this over and over. It's a lot of fun, but we need some food. So my point is, these houses work anywhere. When I started realising this, I came up with a poem. And this has become quite famous amongst property investors. And this is what it's called. It's called Buy Low, Rent High, with a property manager nearby. Thank you.
Smile, be chat, join for networking.